All right, hey everybody, welcome to the PTV podcast for August 15th. This is Big Tony. We've
16th.
Also got Phoenix, we've got Flo, we've got Dark Knight, and Vita Ledham.
And it's
Take
the
it away,
16th.
guys. All right, well, first off then,
Great start.
Saints Row 4
Saints Row
releases
4.
on Tuesday.
Indeed.
Supposed to be some cool new features with it, including superpowers and whatnot.
Indeed.
John, that you're going to be heading up that project, so why don't you talk about that?
Oh Lord.
Go ahead, John.
I will be let's playing through it for like the next 3 months or more, depending on how long this game is. It won't take me that long, but it'll take that long for me to release it all. So you guys have fun over the next 3 months.
Yeah, I was watching a podcast today, and on there they said that they got an early edition and they were able to get through it in like 35 hours.
Wonderful.
That's quite a bit of content. I did hear that there was also going to be DLC. I can't remember if it was for the third game or they delayed it for the fourth game. But I do believe that they were saying that they were actually worried about releasing it because Saints Row got like really crazy and just bizarre, and they went really far out there. So they are actually afraid of releasing it simply on the fact that it's not crazy enough anymore.
Do you know
so
the
here's
premise
the
of
deal.
Saints
Here's
Row
what
4,
happened with
Christian?
that.
Do you know the premise of Saints Row 4?
Oh, I know it's supposed to be pretty crazy. I haven't played any of the games, unfortunately.
Okay, imagine you're in a gang like Grand Theft Auto. Okay, now, the gang leader is the President of the United States who has superpowers and he's been abducted by aliens.
Yeah, no, I know that it's gone pretty crazy. I mean, there's dildo swords for crying out loud.
Well, and it's not DLC per se. I mean, they had basically what it is at the end of 3 they had some DLC that they were going to release or did release, and then THQ went under. And so basically what happened is I forget who picked it up, but whoever picked it up basically went from that DLC and made a whole game out of it. I mean, they added some stuff and went from there, but that's basically, so like from what I've heard, it's like playing that last DLC, only now it's got a bunch of new stuff and it's a whole new game. But like the city is the exact same, all the stuff is still the same, and they left a bunch of stuff in there that you're never going to use. Like stuff that was in 3 that you probably used all the time, you're never going to use it now because of all the other stuff that they added. But they just left it in there just to leave it.
Yeah, no, I understand completely.
So.
Also, Global Offense, 2 days ago, we received a massive update, and now there's skins that you can put on your guns and unlock them in crates and whatnot, just like in Team Fortress 2. But there's no hats. That would be a little ridiculous. But it's pretty interesting. They re-added the silencer onto, or they reintroduced the USP in the M4A1, which is something that people have been really wanting because they took out silencers they did take them out completely with the initial release of Go. What I kind of wanted to touch base on was it's pretty cool with what Valve has been doing, at least with the Dota and the Counter-Strike scene, is a part of the proceeds that go from getting these in-game items and whatnot goes directly to tournament funding and making the prize pools bigger, and hopefully drawing a bigger crowd and promoting more gamers, more professional gamers to jump into the scene.
That's cool.
Very good.
Camo down.
I haven't played Counter-Strike Global Offensive yet.
Yeah.
Last one I had was Source, so that's what I've still got.
Yeah. I think it's taking a little bit of time for, I think, the community to really transition from Source over to Go, but with time, I think it's actually improving and becoming a better game than what Source was, and I'm really excited to see what goes on and to see if it has that longevity that 1.6 in Source had. And I mean, it's really hard to compete nowadays in the esports scene in particular because, I mean, you got these giants like Dota 2 and League of Legends and Han, not so much, but and even StarCraft and a few other games. And it's pretty crazy to see especially in the last like 3 years, how much this has exploded. It's almost out of proportion. It's unfathomable how.
Did someone say explosions? Super Explosion Bros, activate!
Oh, wow.
Well, there's a plug. Shout out to Super Explosion Bros.
Currently on this channel, be sure to check in.
Man, we got a lot of content that we're going to be coming up with. I mean, we've kind of slowed down on the content that we're releasing, and I really haven't. I've been inactive for a very long time, but I'm really excited
Clearly,
to get
because
back
we're
into
at
things.
peak production. We just started a new series yesterday, Phoenix versus
No,
Flo,
Yes.
and
yes,
I
we
won.
did. Should be pretty cool. Man. There's actually a lot that's going on. It's just ridiculous just how the internet is just expanding at such a rapid rate in terms of gaming and what is a gamer.
Wow, that was deep.
So podcast, we don't want to shoot us.
You guys got to keep talking. What's going on? No silence.
I feel
Terrible.
like dying.
Flo feels like dying.
Why do you feel like dying? That doesn't make any sense.
Stop smoking, and that might help.
Hey, I smoke and I don't feel like I'm dying.
Oh, bullshit.
Really? I thought you had tons of health problems.
Smoke.
I have Crohn's disease, alright? That's unassociated with my smoking. I was diagnosed with that before I even started smoking.
And Flo has
quit
left the
smoking.
building.
Maybe things will get better.
Maybe.
Again, Flo has left the building.
Why? Why does he keep... Why? Oh, and also XCOM. A new game's coming out. XCOM Declassified is coming out on the 20th, the 18th on Steam. And it's going to take a different approach than the classic XCOM, which is normally a god view and strategy-based, or turn-based in that term.
This is true. Is anyone capable of picking it up and playing it and such?
Well, I already have it. Just waiting to be able to install it.
And Charlie Brown.
And it's going to be third person, so it's going to be completely different than the other XCOMs, but I guess they really, really worked on trying to make sure that the strategy is still involved and interlooped with the game. So it's going to be really, like, there's a lot of people that are bashing it already because you haven't really seen much, so it's kind of scary to see if it's actually going to be a good game because there's just no one knows anything about it other than it's a third-person shooter.
Yeah, the strategy when they released, which was just on PlayStation Plus a little bit ago, I played quite a bit of that and I quite liked it.
Yeah, it's a
Alright,
fabulous
what game are we talking about?
XCOM.
XCOM was like a really big strategy game, like on... It was just basically... It just outplayed everything in that era when it came out.
Welcome back, Flo. We're discussing XCOM.
Huh?
The flow is returned. We're talking
I
XCOM.
see.
You say something.
I don't think that's how podcasts work. Here, you say something. No, you say something. No, you.
Christian, stop talking.
I want Chris to talk.
Okay, Chris, talk.
That escalated quickly.
Just a little bit.
Okay, Christian, your turn's over. JR, take over.
Let's see.
Fuck Warner Brothers.
Wow. That was...
I don't know. Have we slow reverting back to last week? Xbox, the new Xbox One can run without the Kinect.
Yes, it can. Recently announced, in other words, they've given up on everything they tried to do.
Everything that they've been pushing for.
Thank you, Great Video Game Debates.
Which personally,
Yeah,
I
thank
think
you,
is
Great Video Game
stupid
Debates, for
because
discussing all the problems that the
but
Xbox
most
One
people have
had.
broadband anyway, so what's the big deal? But here we go.
Oh, man. There's a big problem with it. I mean...
No,
Not
there wasn't a
everyone-
problem with it. Just a bunch of crybabies.
A bunch of crybabies? Well,
A bunch of
go ahead and
crybabies.
explain your reasoning.
No,
I want to hear exactly why you are for it.
Everybody has broadband, and if they don't have broadband, they don't have a reason to be on these systems anyway.
Quit whining.
They're all going to the Steam type.
Why
Games
can't they
online
play offline?
stuff.
Like, let's say you go traveling. Let's say you go traveling and you want to be able to bring your Xbox with you, and you want to go ahead and
That's
play.
why you keep your Xbox 360.
Oh my gosh.
What about 5 years from now, whenever I want to play Halo 7? It's not on the 360 anymore. So now I can't play Halo 7.
A new one. You're getting a PS4, you traitor.
That's right.
What? No, but if you decide to go with the Xbox, and let's say you don't have the money to get a PS4, you don't like the exclusive content that PlayStation is releasing, you like the games that are coming out for the Xbox. However, if there are gamers out there that don't have internet, but they enjoy gaming, I mean, it's not a
Well, then you
huge...
get with the times. I had no problem with it. I thought it was fine, how it was. And as soon as Don Mattingly went back on what he said, I knew his job was over. You can ask Phoenix. I called it.
He did.
And within a few weeks, he was out. Because it showed that he had no backbone. He didn't stand by what he said, and therefore he lost his job. Like, he said, like, okay, so official report says he resigned. I'm pretty sure the board just said, yeah, we'll accept your resignation or we can fire you. Because they like his ideas, obviously, but then he just lost his
I completely understand that, but, I mean...
I think we're close to 15 minutes.
You can't justify the fact that you're forcing something on someone because there's a majority that does something. And a majority doesn't mean that it's 50%.
They could do with that kind of stuff.
Socialist gaming, that's what it's called.
Right, like Obama.
There we go.
Wow. You know, if you're familiar with my Pro Wrestling X stuff, we actually recorded before the election, and I predicted that Obama won, knowing that the show was going to occur after the election. I called it, so ha. True story.
Okay.
So now everything's going socialist.
And I mean,
yeah, if we're going to talk politics,
I think the biggest problem, in all honesty, and this is related to politics.
We're a video game channel. Don't you say a word about politics, or I'm kicking you out of this podcast.
Lay it down, Christian. Lay it down.
It's
Christian.
The biggest reason why there was a big uproar on what was going on with the Xbox is because a week prior to it, the NSA scandal kind of came out.
Ooh.
From Edward Snowden.
Okay, you can stay in for that one.
And because of that, everything blew out of proportion. Whether or not it was true or wrong, the fact that information was revealed completely terrified the public.
And they said that Obama was in the
Man,
situation.
I don't care.
I don't have a problem with an always-on connection, just as long as everyone has access to the internet. But not everyone does.
And there is something to be said for specialization. I mean, there are a lot of devices out there that require you to have certain things in order to be able to use them. So I understand that too.
Yeah, you don't have everybody crying about cell phones. Because cell phones nowadays, you have to have a data plan in order for it to work. That's what they tell you. That's not necessarily true, but that's what all the cell phone companies tell you.
What about
in order to get the full functionality of the phone, yes, you have to have data, or some kind of data.
No, you don't.
But
yeah, you do have to have a data plan for an
same
iPhone.
idea.
Well, yeah, for a smartphone, yeah.
It's the exact same thing. So everybody who cried about it is a bunch of damn hypocrite babies because they have a cell phone that does the exact same thing.
Well, I don't necessarily consider. You see, there's one thing to be said for, like, once you get used to a function of how something works and it's been in place for a certain amount of time, people just accept it. When you start integrating new things, that's when there's problems. That's when you're going to see.
That's not true. That is not true. Look at the difference between Nintendo, Super Nintendo, Nintendo 64. Those were all cartridges. Then you went to GameCube. You had the Xbox, you had the PlayStation. Those all went to CD.
Nintendo, though, you can use
now that they're not backwards compatible, everybody cried about that. But back in the day, they weren't backwards compatible either. You know, so now we're just getting better. The things are getting better. They can't have a backwards compatible system. I mean, everybody cried about all those stupid things that were so minuscule.
Well, the thing is they weren't backwards compatible in the past, but they released things that made it able to be backwards compatible. And also
right,
on top
but
of that,
that also
with
limited
Nintendo,
on
it
what
wasn't
the
the
Switch
only
could do because they had to build it stupid in
in
order for it to be able to play the stupid old game.